morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Heidi, for that kind introduction. As Heidi mentioned, I'm the owner of Business Rewritten, and wanted to kind of give you a little bit spice about me first before we kind of jump in. So let's see. Make sure we got this going. So that's me. If you can tell, I'm a dog lover. Was just telling Dana earlier this morning, the only reason why I'd go out so early in the snow and be cold was for Hank, the little corgi there in the middle. This is kind of a smoldering of pictures from 2020, right? We all see the masks, lots of Zoom calls. That was a wedding, an outdoor wedding we got to go to. So love Denver, love being here, and have been a business owner here for about 6 years. Just some other background. I've got about 18 years marketing experience. Goodness, that went fast. Spent 13 of those specifically in the AEC industry, right? I've worked in-house for engineering firm, for an architecture firm, and then started my own company. Social media marketing, goodness, this is the bulk of my business. This is where I live, breathe, eat, right? I get to several notifications all the time from all the social media accounts. But again, it helps me learn that language and can help turn those tips and tricks over to you guys. All right, so this is kind of a background of where we're going today. As Heidi mentioned, we will have places for questions and answers. Please type them in the chat. Dana can manage that and hopefully get all of your questions answered. But this is what we're going to go over. So LinkedIn by the numbers, right? Just want to kind of give a broad overview of how many people are using LinkedIn, what are they using it for? I'm going to go over your professional profiles, right? You got to represent yourself first, right? Before you can go out and make business development connections and relationships with others. Then also to get into that nitty gritty of business development tactics, I have some specific examples and screenshots so we can kind of walk through it together. Then lastly, we'll finish up with some AEC firm marketing tips, right? Want to make sure that you are managing your company pages. I see a couple people on here that do work in-house, right, that are marketing managers. So this will be a great portion for you as well to kind of pick up some tips and tricks of how to market your own firm. All right, and then these are some key takeaways, right? So at the end of all this, at the end of this 2 hours, hopefully you'll learn the following, right? To enhance your professional profile, making sure that you feel comfortable making digital connections, right? We're all in this digital world. Then also making sure that you have some business development opportunities that you can walk away with and share with your firm. All right, but let's start out. I wanted to take a poll, kind of poll the audience a little bit, find out how often you use LinkedIn and what are you using it for. So thank you. Dana put up the first question here. How often are you currently using LinkedIn? Is it once a day, once a week, once a month, multiple times during the day? Everyone put in your submissions, please, and hit submit. Do, 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 do. Sorry, it was a Jeopardy song. Give everyone a couple minutes. Grab a sip of coffee. All right, Dana, I want to put up the first results here. How often are you using LinkedIn? All right, so it looks like the majority here, we've got once a week. All right. Well, hopefully get that number up a little bit. I'm glad to see that, no one put none at all. I purposely didn't put that in there because hopefully by at least signing up for this business practice that you are at least know what LinkedIn is and are using it. But interesting, hopefully we'll get you kind of up to the multiple times per day. All right, so that was poll question number 1. Second question is, what are you using LinkedIn for? Right? I think there's a stigma that most people only use LinkedIn to search for jobs. We'll hopefully dispel that myth for you and hopefully share with you some best tips and practices so that you can continue using LinkedIn for other things. So go ahead. Let's see. What is the main reason you are currently using LinkedIn? Search for a job, hopefully not that one. Update your personal profile, search for industry connections, or are you posting articles and event notifications? So we'll take a minute here and let you submit your answers. Everyone hit submit. Alrighty, let's take a look. All right. Okay. So there's a good mix there towards the end to search for industry connections and posting articles. That's actually surprising. That's good. I'm glad that we have a group that is engaged in LinkedIn. Sounds like you guys are already using it to post different things, but hopefully, again, you can walk away after this presentation to kind of dig in a little bit deeper, right? And make sure that you're using all the parts and pieces of LinkedIn for your business development opportunities. So thank you, Dana, for running that. We'll get on and let's continue on. All righty. So LinkedIn by the numbers, right? So if you're one of those people that don't even have a profile, or maybe you work at a firm where some of your principals don't even know what LinkedIn is, right? They need to join the club, right? There's currently 722 million LinkedIn members as of October when Microsoft put out their fiscal year Q1 report. So there's a lot of people on there, right? And what are they using it for? Most people, most executives are using LinkedIn for their industry news, right? As I'm sure you know, there's a lot going on in the news lately, right? From all of 2020 and then kicking off this year, there's a lot of noise, right? But if you want to focus in on your industry and different tips and tricks, people are coming to LinkedIn to get those notifications and that news. Also, expert advice, right? I think that one of the greatest things about LinkedIn is it's a peer-to-peer network, right? You can connect with other people that are on your level, right? So other project engineers, other marketing specialists, other business development people. I mean, obviously by your title, you're automatically connected, right? And you're within that group. There's also career training opportunities, peer insights. And then the biggest thing too is the content, right? You want to establish yourself, not only yourself, but your firm as a trusted resource, right? I think that's the biggest connection point that people are missing on LinkedIn is that you have to be a resource, right? I think as business developers, we all know that business development, it starts with relationships, right? And how do you start a relationship? By helping people, right? So if you're providing those resources and that maybe tips and tricks or an industry news that they hadn't seen previously, that's, you've opened the door, right? You've created that first step into a relationship. So again, getting into that content. So again, this is just another example that LinkedIn is considered the most effective for B2B lead generation, right? We're in the service industry with AEC, right? We're dealing with business to businesses. So it's hard to really quantify what you sell, right? You're selling a service or you're selling yourself, right? So how do you, put that online and to really sell yourself and your services? You got to generate content, and the best place to do that is on LinkedIn. Just again, another statistic for you. So executives are ranking LinkedIn as their highest value gained on marketing initiatives, right? So firms typically have multiple social media accounts. I recommend that you do, right? So you've got your Twitter, your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your Instagram, but LinkedIn has been proven as the most successful in terms of engagement. And we'll look at that towards the end in the kind of the second portion of this presentation about those analytics and those numbers, because again, that's one of the best and worst parts of social media is that it's all trackable, right? Every post that you make on there, you can see how many people clicked on it. Are they watching your videos? Are they commenting? Those different types of things. So it's all trackable, whether you like it or not. All right, so first part, professional profiles. First of all, again, glad you guys are all on LinkedIn. That's step one. Step two, the biggest question I always get is, why do you need a profile? And one of my favorite stories to tell is a couple years ago, I guess it was 2019? Yeah, a couple years ago. Was hired by an architecture firm to actually implement a company-wide LinkedIn and strategy for not only their company, but also their leadership team. And of course, one of the principals, first day, we're in this huge conference room and he's like, why do I need a profile, Julie? Everyone knows who I am. And I said, well, sir, you do have a great reputation and you are very well known. But how are you represented online? And he's like, well, I'm not even on there. I don't need to be. And I said, okay, well, I was like, do you go to interviews? And he said, what? Interviews for projects, right? Are you the PIC, the principal in charge, when you go to win work, right? And he said, oh, of course, I'm always there. And so I relayed to him this following story. So when I first started my company, 2015, I was doing a lot of proposals. And within that kind of realm, I was invited to be on a selection committee. And the owner flew in from Texas, was late, for the interview process. We had this whole day of interviews. He gets in, again, running late, sits down. The first team, has presented their business cards. They've exchanged business cards and kind of sitting around, and he's on his phone the entire time, and he's taking notes during the presentation, but just on this phone the entire time. So we breezed through the first morning, get to lunch, and I couldn't help but ask him. I was like, hey, are you really paying attention? Right? Like, I was just kind of like, hey, we're kind of all here to this interview. This is your project, right? And he was like, oh no, I'm just doing my research. And I said, what? So I looked over, he actually showed me his notes, and he was writing, no LI wrong. And I said, well, what's LI, right? This is our industry. There's tons of acronyms, right? And I said, I'm not familiar with that one. He goes, LinkedIn? And I said, oh, so no LI meant that the people there for the interview had no LinkedIn profile. So that was kind of an automatic ding for him. Next one, LI wrong, meaning he had looked them up on LinkedIn and it had the wrong company. The principal had first misrepresented, he had just changed firms and had never updated his profile that he was with this new company. He was actually listed as a competitor from another firm. So it was just, to me, that's embarrassing, but it kind of went down the line. And I found it just very interesting that, again, this owner didn't know anyone in town, right? Was not familiar with the Denver industry, the AEC industry, the different players. And that's how he was making impressions, or that's how he was gaining his first impressions, was simply from his personal profile. So make sure, if you walk away with nothing else, make sure your principals have a current LinkedIn profile and it's their current picture. So that's my tidbit. But obviously too, now that we're in this kind of, digital era, whether again, we like it or not, your personal profile is actually your business card, right? I can't tell you, you have your Rolodex, right? Your stack of business cards. Who has time to keep all those, in your purse, in your wallet, or even, on your desk anymore? I was talking to Dana actually yesterday, we're going over this presentation, that it's been a best practice of hers for a while, even before COVID, such that when you go to different events and conferences, gather business cards, when as soon as you got home, would send LinkedIn connections, right? Or invitations to connect with those people, and then throw the business card away, right? So again, this is your cheapest business card ever, right? You'll never have to pay for printing costs because it's there all online and can be updated whenever you need it. So then also too, your personal profiles, your online resume, right? There are so many different options and portions of your profile where you can really build your portfolio, right? So again, if someone is just taking a quick glance and looking you up on LinkedIn, they can see that, you've done a project at UC Health. You are very interested in, volunteer opportunities. Maybe you have, you're in the middle of going to business school or whatever. All those things say a lot about you, right? And you haven't even opened your mouth yet, right? You haven't even said a word, and people are already looking for ways to make connections with you. Then two, once you've kind of beefed up, right, or enhanced your professional profile, the goal is really to be a trusted resource, right? Again, when you think about business development, it's all about relationships, right? And how do you build relationships? Again, you help people. So maybe once you've got your profile up and running, you feel comfortable and you start posting industry articles, you are becoming a resource, right? You are sharing the latest industry news, or maybe letting people know about a pre-proposal meeting that you have to sign up for, these different things. Or maybe it's an event like this. You're like, hey, I'm going to this business practices this morning, and sharing that on your profile and encouraging others to do so. It shows that not only you are engaged and know what's going on in the industry, but that you're constantly learning, right? You take the time to receive training and receive updates, those different things. Again, those all say volumes about you and your character as a person. And again, you haven't even met anyone face to face. All right, so let's jump right in. So LinkedIn, again, in its many iterations, has changed over the years, right? But these are kind of the latest tips and tricks on your profile that I see a lot of people not really taking advantage of. First and foremost, right, make sure that little circle is your most current headshot. I've seen, again, when I was hired by that architecture firm, the principal had a picture of him that was 20 years ago, right? That the hair was a little darker and maybe had a little bit more of it. So I did encourage him to finally post a more current headshot, right? Because when you're at meetings or trying to even recognize people over Zoom, guess what? We don't always look like that. I don't always look like that. I try, but anyways. Also too, another important feature is really to include that background horizontal photo, right? For me, it's my business, Business Rewritten, but I've seen it too where, especially a lot of people in our AEC industry, they'll put a snapshot of their most favorite project, or maybe it was a cool drone image of something, or maybe it was their favorite design, or something that has nothing to do with work, just a, maybe your favorite trail, right? All those things say something about you, and it's just another opportunity to really put yourself out there and make yourself stand out. So another way to do that too is to write your own headline. So previously in LinkedIn, this headline here would only, it would just grab from your most current position. So previously mine would have said marketing manager at Clip Architecture, right? Then I started my own business. LinkedIn, has kind of updated their profile settings. And you can really, individualize it and make it your own, so it doesn't have to say, your current position. I've seen it where it just says problem solver, right? Engineers, you guys are problem solvers. Put that in your headline, right? Again, it says something about you. And one of the ways to do that too is to, kind of edit your profile. So this is a screenshot from LinkedIn when you're online. This is on the desktop or a laptop view. Another thing I see people not taking advantage of is really putting in your designations here, right? You want to make sure that this shows up in your profile so that people don't have to scroll down to find out, are you a PE, right? Do you have another designation? You went through school, you paid all this money, and you took the test, right, to earn the designation. Let people know about it, right? Excuse me. And the best way to do that is through your last name. Just put a comma and then put your designation so that it's permanently up there. And this is the spot too where you can update your headline, right? You can put in whatever you want. Doesn't just have to say, again, you're an owner or a PE or whatever. You can totally personalize that for you. All right, next portion. Again, current company position. I cannot emphasize this enough. Most people don't even have where they currently work, or they still have maybe just a side job or a part-time job that they put on there. I encourage people to really put things on LinkedIn that you want people to know about, right? Like I've had a million part-time jobs and different things that I've started up, but they're not all on LinkedIn. So again, you want to make sure that you're representing yourself professionally and that you're keeping the current information up to date. All right, so then the next kind of segment of your personal profile is the about section, right? And I've seen people just copy and paste literally their job description here. And guess what? Nobody reads anymore. There's these long paragraphs. No, I really encourage people to use this section as your elevator pitch, right? As business development professionals, we're all accustomed to having that, little bit of speech, right, about you. My name is Julie Wanzer, owner of Business Rewritten. I've got about 18 years of marketing experience. 13 of those are in the AEC industry. And one of my top services is social media management, right? And you could have gotten that just by reading that top part. And, something about me, that I've got some industry experience and that I live in the social media world. So again, I really encourage you to kind of put your top strengths up here, your value adds, maybe your favorite project, just something again that shows that, you've been in the industry for a while, you have some professional knowledge, and that you're ready and willing to share it. Okay. Then kind of getting into kind of the further parts of the profile. Again, you can really you have lots of opportunities to enhance your profiles. I see people too that, again, they don't put in their designations, right? Licenses and certifications. Say that 10 times fast. Make sure that you put that on there, right? You show that you took the time and that you're invested within the industry and to learn more. Also put your volunteer experience, right? Again, it's something that's outside of work, tells a bigger story about you, what you care about. So there's different sections there, but I would, again, encourage you to put more than just your current company or your current position or, different places that you've worked. And this can be overwhelming, right? Like I'm sure I can see people just glazing over a little bit, but it does take some effort, right? Some pre-setup, but I think too, this will really help you stand out and just tell a better picture of who you are as a business development professional. All right, couple more sections. So this is kind of a new feature, new-ish feature, right, is to give recommendations, right? These are personal testimonials. Again, this is where your peer-to-peer network really comes into play and can be used to your advantage, right? So maybe you've worked with different people on different jobs, right? And this superintendent really saw that you were on time and, you showed up on site, you weren't afraid to, deal with all those change orders or requests for information. Ask them for a recommendation, right? And it's very easy to do, just under recommendations, literally ask, right? And then you type in their name on LinkedIn and it sends them a notification. And then also too, again, business development, helping others. So if you're asking for a recommendation, please, please, please always give one, right? That person may or may not want it, but it at least shows that you're willing to share reciprocally, right? And to help them beef up their profile and, really have some accountability for what they do and how they're able to help people on projects. Another section too is the skills and endorsements, right? So this is again where you can show off. You can display different things that you're good at, right? Like I know for having worked in marketing, we're responsible for everything, right? There's so many skills and different things. You got to maintain the website, you got to do the proposals, you have to write that press release, you're on the social media, all these different, you wear all these different hats. And same thing for engineers as well. My goodness, you have a range of skills that you need to just show and display, that you're not just a one-stop shop, right? So this is where you can add new skills. There's several ones that are kind of pre-programmed into LinkedIn. You can certainly add your own and then get people to endorse you, right? Again, at one time, proposal writing was my world. Can't tell you how many hours I spent writing proposals, prepping interview teams. So it was my top skill, right? Marketing communications, press releases. So again, it takes time to build that up, but you at least need to give people flavor and understanding of different skills that you're proficient at. All right, so you now have the perfect profile, right? You're enhanced up, there's recommendations, you've got your skills listed, all your volunteer experience. Now, you actually have to do some business development, right? So this is again too, where LinkedIn really comes into play and can help you, just kind of give you that extra boost, right? Again, LinkedIn is a tool, it's a resource. And if you are able to kind of navigate it, use it effectively, I really think that you'll be able to enhance your overall business development strategy, right? Which is why you guys are all here. So first of all, just the very basics. So again, I mentioned when you are putting together your personal profile, that's your digital business card, right? We're all living in this Zoom world, right? We've got the Zoom fatigue, all those things, but use it to your advantage, right? I understand there's no conferences, there's no events, there's not even coffee meetings right now, right? Depending on people's level of comfortability, that's the word. But so be inquisitive, be curious, right? I know when we're on these Zoom calls, tend to be on your phone or looking at another email or, trying to let your dog out. But I would really encourage you to kind of scroll through on these Zooms or Teams, whatever you have, and find out who else is on the call. Obviously when you're on a training like this, I would be curious to see who else is in this training, right? Maybe you see someone's name, you're like, oh, Byron, I've seen you at another event, or, notice you were online. What I would do then after the presentation was send them a LinkedIn request, right? Just let's connect, right? I saw you on these things. So it's a different way to exchange information, make connections with new people. I think that's kind of the biggest thing that people are saying right now in business development. I'm not meeting any new potential clients, or I'm not interacting with new people. And I said, well, have you been on LinkedIn? Right? And so step one, make sure you're there and that you're actually connecting with people, right? If you're going to be paid to be on Zoom, you might as well make the most of it and really use it to data mine and really connect with new people. All right, so You've exchanged your personal business card. We are now connected on LinkedIn. So with that connection, you receive notifications, right? So this is the best way to learn more about your clients or learn about your peers, right? Are the people that you're connected to. I love receiving notifications of job anniversaries, or maybe they started a new job, or LinkedIn now has a feature for a notification that when you sign up for a conference or an event, that notification goes out as well. So you're sharing, what you're doing professionally, where you are in your career. And that's another talking point, right? Again, developing that relationship. I can look at this and say, wow, Chad, I haven't seen you for a while. Last saw you at the Housing Colorado conference 3 years ago, 8 years now at ShopWorks. Congratulations, right? So it's that touch point where you're not being creepy, right? You're not necessarily stalking them, but it's just one more point to reach out them to. Maybe it's someone you haven't talked to in a while, or again, that new connection. And you'll start receiving notifications about them. And again, developing that basis for a relationship. Give me something to talk about. Give me some type of connection point. All right, another business development tactic. Again, I mentioned this earlier for your interview prep, right? Your meeting prep. Now let's start with the interview first, right? Because we all want to be able to win more work. And I go back to my story with that owner from Texas who made his decision literally about the teams and people that he was working with based on their LinkedIn profiles. So make sure, again, that all of your principals have a LinkedIn profile, right? Search for them, but also, do some research about other people that you might be meeting with, right? Maybe you saw Byron on that Zoom call. You notice that he's on several of them with you. You make the LinkedIn connection. Then I would look up his profile, right? And again, see different parts. Maybe you guys both love to volunteer for Habitat for Humanity. And again, that's another connection point. So prepare for your meetings, prepare for your interviews. Sometimes too, the selection panel, you will know who's on the selection panel. I would encourage you to use this search function. Look them up, right? The more information that you have in your pocket to, again, create that connection and to establish that relationship, the better. So I use this search function. This is one of my best friends on LinkedIn. So make sure you use it accordingly. Also, too, another point is to do some competitor research, right? Know what your other companies and firms are doing. So again, the search function is great because again, you can look up specific people, you can look up companies, you can look up industry information, you can search by hashtag even, right? So again, a world of information at your fingertips. You just want to make sure that you're digesting it and using it properly. So again, I had previously typed in engineering firms Colorado, and I'm now following FHU, there's Farnsworth Group, some different firms. So again, so now that their information, now that I'm following them, following their company page, I now receive alerts, and when they start posting, right, it shows up in my feed. So I can see that Farnsworth Group recently had Greg Kishiyama featured in a video for ACEC Colorado. Obviously, I knew that because I post for ACEC. But again, it shows up in my feed, and I see that, oh, Farnsworth Group is sharing, a post from ACEC Colorado. They're engaged. They have senior project managers that take the time to speak and share different things about what it's like, the best part of being an engineer, or maybe their advice that they have. So again, all those things originated on LinkedIn because you hit follow. All right. Other part too, I mentioned this earlier, is industry news, right? Again, there's so much noise and different things going on in our world, right? Whether you just turn on CNN or Fox News or whatever channel, sometimes you just want to hear about what's going on in the industry, right? So you can select to follow different industry types. Obviously, I'm into marketing and advertising, right, and branding. So you can subscribe to these people's newsletters, right, that they push that content out over LinkedIn. Certainly there's one, I follow a construction one, an engineering one, and also an architecture and design industry feed, right? So I receive all those newsletters. Can be a little overwhelming sometimes, but again, as a social media manager, constantly looking for digital content to share that's relevant, LinkedIn is my best mining source, honestly, and has always served me well. This next part, start a group. So again, I think this is kind of a undervalued portion of LinkedIn. I know that at the beginning of LinkedIn, you had to start a group in order to have a company, right? They didn't have company pages at first, but now they've separated company pages versus groups. And the groups are really interest groups. And it's one of the best ways to really connect with people and differently, right? And one of the things that I like to do, or one of the things I started actually a while ago, was a leads group, right? I'm working in-house. I think I go back to my time at Clip when I was working in-house, and I'm sure you guys have sat at these leads group meetings, right? We met once a month. Everyone, I remember stacks of paper that they would pass out. There were forms, oh, what's your latest lead? Are you on this pre-proposal bid? Did you sign up for this? And there would always be people that didn't bring a good lead, or would always show up late, or whatever, or didn't really contribute to the group. So I decided to take matters into my own hands, and I started a leads group through LinkedIn. So I'm going to kind of walk through that process with you. Again, I think that it's valuable, especially now, again, when we're pretty much all digital, and it's a way to connect and share information that's not visible to other people. So in order to create a leads group, what you would do is go up to, when you sign into LinkedIn, you see your personal profile, click on work, just drop down this box here, click groups, right, to start your leads group. And it'll bring up, these are the groups I'm part of right now. Click on create group, right? And then you can set your group rules, your group name. I keep it for leads group, especially, I would recommend to keep it unlisted, right? So that it doesn't appear, so people can't find my leads group, right? Like it's not something they can type in, and it's not something that shows up on other people's profiles, right? So we keep it closed off. It builds trust, right? That we're sharing information within our own leads group. People aren't just putting this on blast out there. You can allow members to invite connections. Obviously, as the admin, you can control what people are posting. But I found this to be very effective, such that it held people accountable, right? Again, we go back to social media. If you didn't post it on social media, did it really happen? So the requirement to stay in the leads group was that you had to post some type of lead once a week, right? So whether that was a new proposal bid, or you kind of heard on the streets from this development panel that something was coming out, you had to share something of worth that would be, viable to everyone at least once a week. And if you didn't, I kicked you out, right? So it was a way to hold people accountable, to really share that knowledge within a certain group. And, people loved it, right? They kind of got on board with it. So I'll tell you, when quarantine hit, right, and we couldn't meet once a month in person anymore, everyone got on LinkedIn, honestly, right? We started sharing things, different updates about PPP loans, various things that I thought would help different members of the group. And we just had this body of knowledge, right, of different things, different resources that were already there, right, within our group. People could go back and refer to. So I do know that one woman left her leads group and started her own, which I think is great, right? You want to be able to make sure that you're within a trusted group of people. And this is a great way too to do business development, right? Be able to be a resource for people, share the knowledge that you have, but in a very, concerted way, and showing that you can provide value. All right. So now you've got your personal profile. You are now a pro business developer on LinkedIn, doing different things. Now you actually have to post, right? How do you do that? What are some of the tips and tricks? I always say that you have to include an image, right? Like with anything else, people are visual, right? That's what catches the attention first. But also too, make sure you have some content in there, right? As a writer, it breaks my heart that, people don't really write anymore, right? Or they don't write these long paragraphs. That's fine. People are distracted and they read differently. So you have to write differently, right? You have to post differently. Think about posting this. These are your headlines, right? So when you're scrolling through, again, whatever news channel, whatever news source that you use, you skim and read the headlines, right? So think about your posts and this content here as your headline, right? How am I going to grab your attention? One of the best ways or things that I like to post about, obviously social media, right? One of the best times to post. So maybe I do a snapshot of some data about when the best time is to post. I would put that in the headline and then always include a link, right? You want people to be able to learn more. Again, you're not copying and pasting the entire article within the body of this post. Nobody cares. Nobody has time to read that. So literally just put the headline, maybe a key finding or something you found interesting about it, include the link so they can learn more. And again, you're establishing yourself as a trusted resource. You found this article, found it interesting, wanted to share it with your connection group because you thought they would find it interesting. So again, tips and tricks. The other question I always get is, what do I post? Like, I have no idea, maybe you're new to the industry or new to LinkedIn, into this social media world. And, obviously we're not posting cat pictures, right? That's not the forum for it. This is a professional network. So here's some recommendations, right? Sometimes just a simple thank you, right? I got to work on this video project with Ellie from the Unfound Door. So I did a repost of the video. I said, what a great project to work on with Ellie, and thank you to Tony Milo. That was our client. That's who hired us. So it was a way to publicly acknowledge and thank Tony, for the opportunity, for trusting our vision, but also to share some work, right? Something that I was really proud of. But did it in a way that wasn't like, hey, look what I did. It was like, hey, thanks, Tony. Thanks for, taking a chance on me. And it was a great opportunity and turned out to be a great project. Another type of post is to send an event invite, right? Again, you signed up, you registered for this business practice this morning. That would be a post I'd put out there. Hey, I just signed up for this, looking forward to it. It again encourages other people to sign up, but it also too, it shows that, you're taking the time to educate yourself, to receive training, to receive that continued education, right? It shows that you take your work seriously and that you're a professional. Another great one also too is just interesting news articles, right? We want to be the expert in whatever industry we're in, whatever that niche is. So start sharing those articles as you see them either coming through your email, or maybe it's something that you saw online and you thought was interesting. Take a snapshot, right? Copy and paste the link and share that out with your network. And if all else fails, you can certainly share ACEC Colorado posts, right? So as you're following different firms and associations within your feed and you saw something that was relevant, it is so easy just to click share. Makes you look good, shows that you are involved in the industry, you're a member of ACEC, and you have a pulse about what's going on. All right, now most of these are, end up posting from your phone. I can't tell you how many personal posts I've put on my actual laptop, right? So I just kind of included some screenshots there from your phone. So when you open up LinkedIn, this is kind of going to be the opening menu. You'll have your profile up here. You just click on post, right? And then this screenshot will come up. You have the option to add a photo, take a video, add a document, share a story, whatever that picture might be, or photo. And again, I always encourage you, some type of photo, some type of video. Then you can blast it out. You can do it to a select group if you have groupings within your connections, or you can share with everyone. As I mentioned before, if all else fails, just start posting or sharing posts from the different associations and companies that you follow. And the best way to do that, again, is to use the search function up here. And you put in whatever company or association you want to follow or share from, put American Council of Engineering Companies of Colorado. And then this will bring up their page. And if you scroll down to page posts, this little arrow or icon here is you can click on it, and that's for you to share. And then this screen will pop up. So you'll have the original post here. Maybe you say, hey, I thought this was a really interesting podcast. You should listen to it. And then you hit send. So it takes out half the work of having to find an image and a link and all that stuff. You can just share what's already out there, right? And I think too, it again shows your industry involvement, shows that you know what's going on in the industry, and that you're willing to be that trusted resource. Again, business development, relationships, relationships, relationships. So the more that you help people and put information out there, the more likely they are to not only keep following you, but actually be engaged, right? Click on these links and, see what events that you're attending, or, maybe what other article news sources that you follow. Again, you're sharing information, you're being that resource so that you can start the conversation and, be a good business developer. All right, the last part about posting on your phone, this is kind of a new feature for LinkedIn. They're trying to capitalize on the story craze, right? That's going on, obviously, with Instagram and different things. So you can do it on LinkedIn via your phone, right? So when you pull up LinkedIn, you'll have your profile here and you'll notice different stories. You may not have all of these. These are stories for each of the company's LinkedIn profiles that I manage. So you'll most likely just see this where it says your story. And you can add a photo with a caption that'll be displayed only for 24 hours, or you can post a 20-second video. So I think their stories for LinkedIn are still in development. I've posted it a couple times, but it's much more difficult to track who's watching it, right? Who's seen it. Excuse me, I feel like Instagram does that a much better job of that. I'm all about the analytics, right? Of you don't want to post something in a vacuum and say, well, did anyone see that, right? I want to be able to track that and know that people are clicking back, going to my website, or actually registering for something, right? They took that call to action. So I think these stories are still in development. I wouldn't waste too much time, honestly, on posting these, but it is a good way to get your story out there, different videos that you may or may not have been a part of. Just another way to share information. All right, so we are, what is that, 8:47? We're cruising, I love it. But I did want to kind of take a break and get some questions from the group. Dina, I didn't know if there was any in the chat, or this is your opportunity to kind of ask about that first part, anything about your personal profiles or posting that we can kind of walk through and share.
Thanks, Julie. We haven't gotten anything in the chat, but I actually have a question.
Okay, yes, please.
As I'm not part of the marketing, for example, at ACEC Colorado, you work with Heidi, who manages and you two manage our social media. Mm-hmm. So when I want to post something on LinkedIn, am I an extension representing the company? Do I need to check with the marketing department, or, you know what I'm saying? I just wouldn't want to go off brand or off message, but maybe I just personally think this is interesting and relevant. So
yeah, no, and I think Dina, I think that's a great question, right? You do want to make sure, I guess you're jumping ahead, Dana, first, because I do have some social media guidelines at the end, right? I love it. You're like, did I take myself off mute? You're so cute. No, you do want to make sure, as people are sharing, you want to remember that you are, excuse me, you're an extension of your company's brand, right? So you want to make sure that you're sharing things appropriately, no foul language, all those things. But again, to your point, Dana, about wanting to make sure that this is on brand or whatever, yeah, I would check with an internal marketing person. I would also encourage you to, again, if you're kind of dipping your toe in the water, maybe just share ACEC posts, because those have been cleared, right? Like, that Heidi put the stamp of approval on it, as did I, and it's not, taking you to, a random website or whatever. But know that you want to make sure that you are sharing relevant things, and again, things that are appropriate for the professional industry. So good question. So we will get to that too.
Great.
Other questions?
Yes, there's another question that's come in. Okay. I get hit up by headhunters on a regular basis. Seems like that group uses LinkedIn more than anybody. What do you think about that?
Yes. Did you see my eye roll? I don't know if you see on emojis. I tell this to Heidi all the time. My number one emoji is the eye roll one, where I'm like, oh gosh. So yes, LinkedIn, you're right, was originally, I guess, formed and used by HR people, right? Headhunters, people searching for jobs, right? It's like an Indeed on crack, right? Like literally there's all these things and different ways that you can contact people. I always deny those, or I block them. I report that I don't know them. A lot of headhunters have the premium, LinkedIn premium, which I don't use, right? I tried it out for a month, that 30-day trial or whatever that they recommend to you. And I didn't really, for the amount that they wanted to charge to be a premium member, I didn't see the value in it, honestly. Again, unless you are a HR headhunter, don't pay for premium, by the way, don't, and ignore all those headhunter requests. So, other questions?
Yes, could you explain more about a company LinkedIn versus personal?
Sure, yes. And again, jumping ahead. So the next portion of the presentation I'm going to dive into that company page, right? Go over some more tactics of what to post, how to post. I know a lot of, again, people on here are marketing managers who are probably going to be managing that page. So there are some different tips and tricks that I'll get to at the end of the presentation. So I'm not answering your question, but we'll get to it.
Great. How do you handle opposition from leadership to updating LinkedIn? It seems to toe the line between personal and professional value.
I guess repeat the question. Can you say that again?
How do you handle opposition from leadership?
Okay.
To updating LinkedIn? It seems to toe the line between personal and professional value.
Sure. So again, we talk about different generations or different types of people that are within your company, right? And that is going to be a reflection on LinkedIn, right, as well. Some people don't like to share personal information. They think that someone's going to be following them constantly or, learn more than they should. And I would say that you've got to meet in the middle, right? I go back to that story of that owner who literally was making decisions about principals that had been in the industry for 30, 40 years. And he was like, no, they don't have a LinkedIn. I don't know anything about them. I'm not interested, right? So there's that. You don't want to lose work over it. Second, you do want to make sure that you're, that everybody in your firm is well represented, right? Again, you don't want to post, I stay away from any religious or political posts. This is not the forum for that. This is not Facebook. This is not, pictures of you drinking and, off the side of a mountain. Okay. This is not the place for that. You do want to keep it professional. And I will too get in at the end into some more guidelines. I've actually written some social media guidelines for companies that go into their HR handbooks about what to post, no drugs and alcohol. Make sure that your pictures, if you're on a job site, are OSHA compliant. Okay. I had one client that received a $30,000 fine because someone didn't have full PPE in their photos. So please do not do that. Don't be that example. So I hope that answered your question about opposition.
That is all the questions we've had so far.
Okay, perfect. All right, guys. Well, I do, again, it's 8:53. I want to give you about a 3 to 5 minute break. I know that these Zoom conferences and different things can go a little bit long. So please take a break, go to the bathroom, take your dog out, get some more coffee, and we'll resume at, what do you want to say? You want to do it at the top of the hour, Dana? Start right
Yes.
back at 9? Okay, yes. Perfect. So thank you guys. We'll see you back here in a few minutes. We spent the first part of the morning talking about your personal profile, right? Making sure that you're on LinkedIn. You've got a current headshot. You're taking advantage of the different headlines and different things that you can highlight about yourself in a professional manner, right? So now we want to talk about the company pages, right? These are for a lot of marketing people on the call that may be managing the company page, or maybe you want to start your own company and want to pick up some tips and tricks, or maybe these are tips that you'll take back to your internal marketing team to share. Again, this is all part of the big business development theme, right? For the talk, again, developing that relationship, who you are as a company, what your culture is, what you guys believe in, all those things can be properly and professionally displayed on LinkedIn to really help tell the story about who you are as a firm and what you want to be represented as. All right, so let's jump right in. All right, AEC firm marketing tactics. Okay. Why do you need a company page, right? Again, these are the biggest opposition questions. First of all, why do I need a profile? I think hopefully we covered that, right, in the first part. So then why do you need a company page, right? I already have a website. This is the number one excuse that I hear, the biggest challenge. Guess what? websites are not enough. I can't tell you the last time that I went on my own company's website, honestly, right? First of all, I pay someone to manage it, but also, you know, I really don't go there to post things, right? I'm a social media manager I live there. Anything that I feel is important or relevant about my company, I put on my company LinkedIn page or my own personal LinkedIn. Also, too, your company page is a way to establish you as an industry expert, right? We all know that the AEC industry is just inundated with firms, right? There's so many electrical design firms, mechanical, structural, civil, landscape architecture firms. You know, why would somebody choose to work for your firm, or why would they want to work with you? Again, it's two-pronged, right? So people on LinkedIn, they are people who are looking for jobs, right? So you want to make sure your company page stands out over maybe your competitor. But also, too, they want to see that your company gives back, right? And that you are that industry expert. You understand what's going on, maybe the latest projects, groundbreakings, whatever, different data, your annual report even, right? You know, I know a lot of companies put out their like sustainability reports, things of that nature on their company page. When I say target the next generation, again, these are the up and coming people, right, that are looking for jobs. Obviously, there's no job fairs right now, right? There's no career fairs. You can't have a booth and shake someone's hand and really tell them about your company, or, you know, maybe about your company's culture. Guess what? You got to put that on LinkedIn, right? You have to have pictures, of your employees. Maybe that's building that house, volunteering for Habitat for Humanity, or you know, maybe again, it was a project that you just won, or one that you just completed, or maybe an article that you had published in the Colorado Real Estate Journal, whatever that is, to kind of enhance what your company is doing. And again, it's not something that you would necessarily put up on your website. And if you are putting it just on your website, you're missing out. People aren't seeing it. So let's kind of talk through, you know, why you should have your company page, what you should be posting on it, and help you feel more comfortable about putting information out there about your firm. All right. So again, I mentioned, oops, let's go back a slide. Jumping all over. Here we go. So I mentioned one thing, firm websites are not enough, right? Google ranking factors, I'm sure you're all familiar with the SEO algorithm that seems to be changing, gosh, by the second here, right? But the way that companies are found online via Google, right? There's so many different factors that go into it now. And you can see that social media now makes up 5.3% of that SEO. So if you are not, first of all, if your company doesn't have social media page, at the very minimum, LinkedIn, right? I understand you might not want to jump on the Twitter feed right now, or, you know, have a whole company Facebook. That's a different discussion. But at the bare minimum, please have your company have a LinkedIn page, right? Because you want people to find you. You know, when they're looking for that structural engineer in Colorado, you want to make sure that your firm is at the top of the fold, right? When you talk about old newspapers, gosh, I'm dating myself here, you know, you would always read what's at the top, right? The main headlines. And you want to make sure that your firm is positioned there, that people can find you. And one way to do that is through LinkedIn and posting on social media. Then also mobile app use as well. As I'm sure you know, we are tied to these things, right? I have a love-hate relationship marriage. We've been divorced 3 times, but always find my way back to my trusty iPhone, right? And I'm sure too, obviously, pull up some statistics here that during quarantine and the whole pandemic, people are on their phones and obviously online like this way more than we should be, right? So you do have a captive audience, again, whether we want to be on our laptops and computers and phones as much as we should. But if that's where people are, you want to make sure that your message is getting there. All right. So again, social activity by site rank. Again, this is another way to show that your overall SEO and how you're found online. You will have a better chance of being found if you are posting on Facebook, LinkedIn, Google+, even though I think Google+ is gone down the line. Not as many people are on there, but it does show again that this is in order to be found and be up in those above the fold higher rankings on SEO, you need to be posting to LinkedIn and having links back to your website, right? Having the links talk to each other. All right. So let's talk about how many people are on their phones, right? So this came out from the Digital 2021 Global Overview Report. There's 5.22 billion people that have individual phones, right? I can't even imagine how much more. What is it? 7 billion are we up to in our population? 7.5? I don't know what that statistic is. Don't quote me on that. But 5.22 billion of those people are on their phones, right? They're also using apps. They're making connections. So all these things are all happening on our phones. So now that we've all had our phones, those 5.2 billion people, 22 billion people, we're spending an average of 4 hours and 10 minutes a day on your phone. So if you think about an 8-hour workday, half of that is on your phone, right? Whether you're looking up other things or not, hopefully you are using your phone for work-related purposes, like updating your LinkedIn profile. But the message is we're spending a lot of time on there. And within those phones, we're spending a lot of time on apps. This is what I want you to pay the most attention to. 44% of your phone usage is on apps. Again, I'm not clicking on Google Chrome and going to my a company's website if I want to learn more about them. I'm going to LinkedIn. I expect companies, professional firms to be on there, that I can find them, I can learn more about them. So you want to put all that information in one place. Again, you are not going to individual websites. You want to go to one app, and that's LinkedIn. All right. So some more statistics for you. Again, kind of driving home that message. And I would use this, to encourage those principals and those owners of your firms that you guys need to be there, right? So LinkedIn is the #1 channel for content marketing. And when we say content marketing, that is like viable, not just a picture of you guys on opening day, which, gosh, probably won't even happen this year, but side story. The LinkedIn, right? So for content marketing, right? So these are articles that you've had published. Maybe it's a snippet of a white paper of a research study that one of your principals was involved in. Maybe, it's a short video of a presentation that one of your principals gave, or one of your engineers. You want to be able to show that you are that industry expert and that you're posting relevant content on LinkedIn that's professional. So then the other statistic there is that 82% of business-to-business marketers find their greatest success on LinkedIn, right? So again, you want to show that you're not just posting into a void, into a vacuum, that people are actually engaging, right? So when you post something on Twitter, for instance, 67% might click on that link or take that call to action, whatever that may be. But on LinkedIn, they're much more likely to, 82%, to actually engage with your content, click on a link that takes you back to your website, or actually ends up registering for an event or a notification. So the numbers are there. Alrighty, so AEC for marketing tactics. You want to establish yourself as an industry expert. Again, I use this word in the beginning of the presentation, and it applies to both, right? To you personally, that you want to be that trusted resource as a business developer. You want people to say, you are the it person. I have got to call Julie because she knows, what's going on at the convention center, right? She's got a pulse on it. You also want to establish that same type of credibility and trust for your company, right? Your firm, works within this AEC world. There's a lot going on, but show that you're an expert, right? That you're a trusted resource, that you know what's going on. You follow the Denver Business Journal. You follow, the Downtown Denver Partnership, different associations, different things where you can gather nuggets of information and share it out appropriately. Another great way to post and things to establish on your company page is client recognition, right? So for ACEC Colorado, our clients, our ACEC Colorado's clients are you guys, right? Are the members. So anytime that we have the opportunity, and I say we because as Heidi mentioned, I do manage the ACEC Colorado LinkedIn page and social media, so I can say we collectively. Again, for ACEC, their members, our members are you guys, right? Our clients are the members. So anytime that we can highlight the members, whether that's on a video clip like seen here, or maybe for an award that you've won, it shows that you're engaged, right? That you care about your clients or your members. And to that, it's worth joining, right? It's worth being a part of this company. It's worth being part of ACEC because you do have the opportunity to, receive the spotlight, right? Your 5 minutes of fame online for LinkedIn. And then also too, the last part is to really show that you're an expert, right? Again, you want to show people that you know anything and everything about structural design, that you have certain things in house. There are things that set you apart. You want to put those out. Maybe not. I definitely don't recommend putting out your trade secrets, right? Like your whatever that may be for you, but at least give a hint to it, right? That, hey, did you know we also do this? That we have a whole sustainability department in house that only focuses on LCAs, right? Life cycle assessments. You want to make sure that you put that information out there, right? Because again, I'm not going to your website to find out, oh, you just added a whole new LCA page. Well, guess what? No one's going to see it unless you tell them to, right? You have to direct people. Again, so much noise out there. You need to direct people to say, hey, guess what? Oh, friendly reminder, by the way, we also have this new department, or we hired this new person, whatever it might be. So there's always tons of content that you can share. But again, this helps you kind of be more strategic about it and put some kind of meat behind it. All right, so trusted resource. So whenever, again, when clients hire me to look to manage their social media page, the first thing I ask is, what's been your most popular post? And I usually get deer in headlights, like, what do you mean, right? And I said, well, do you make use of the LinkedIn analytics? And usually they have analytics, right? What is that data? Again, true marketing and any true strategy has some numbers behind it, right? So again, this is one of the things that I love about social media, is that every single post is trackable, right? You can see when it was created, the number of impressions, that's the number of people that have actually seen it in their feed. Clicks mean that they actually clicked on it. So they clicked on your link for more information. The CTR, I have that, I think it's calculation, it's impressions per, oh my goodness, it's listed on here. There isn't I do define each of these so that you have a good idea, but CTR is good, right? You want this to be high. It actually shows that not only did people see it from their impressions, they took action on it, right? That's that CTA, that call to action. So this one, again, is a trusted resource. Obviously, during quarantine, this was the height of it, right? We were all still at home wondering what the heck was going on. And we wanted to show that ACEC is still there for the members, right? That we're still trying to connect you. So during this time period, the most popular post was this one, one of the very first, as a follow-up to one of the very first digital fireside chats. You can see Brad down here with this. I think that's how it originated, Heidi, correct me if I'm wrong. The fireside, I think we took that and ran with it. Anyways, so this was one of our most popular posts during that time. We wanted to show that people are actually connecting, that they had a resource, they had a voice, a message, and then it led to registrations for the next digital fireside chat. The second most popular post during that time period, again, this is the height of quarantine, was updates that we sent out about different funding sources, right? Everyone was scrambling. Oh my goodness, am I going to have to fire people? Am I going to have to, projects were being put on hold or being canceled altogether, right? And so people are scrambling, what do I do? We really made a point to put out resources. Okay, this is what's going on, whether it's the Colorado Office of Economic Development. I know we put out a lot of posts about PPE, the SBA, different things. So again, all this noise, all these things, but if you went to ACEC's LinkedIn page, you were receiving constant updates of what was going on, how to connect with people, and how to find answers. Second part, again, I mentioned client recognition. So again, for ACEC, our clients are our members, right? So obviously a big portion of anytime we can recognize our clients is for our own awards, right? The Engineering Excellence Awards. And you can see during this time period, from November 1st through the end of the year, December 31st, our most popular post was this one about Mueller Engineering. This was actually part of a specific campaign that we ran to recognize and highlight each company that submitted or was recognized through the EEAs. And you'll see it made 1,071 impressions, right? And 40 people clicked on it. It's definitely a lower CTR than than I would like, right? I would like people to be more engaged and to share it, but I'm really proud of this impression number. And as you can see too, during that time period, this one from Wilson and Company was the second most popular. So again, you can see people are liking it, they're reacting it, they're saying congratulations, they're leaving comments. This is all good, great engagement, right? And it's a way for you. So if you're, again, the marketing firm, maybe you see that one of your clients won a design award, right? You work with an architecture firm who was maybe highlighted in Modern Denver, or won one of the, the mayor's City of County of Denver. They have a whole award series, or maybe one of your clients won an AGC award, won one of their ACE awards. I would recognize them, say, hey, thanks so much for including us on this project. Congratulations on your award. And again, it shows that you have relationships within the industry, that you partner with different firms, and that you partner with award-winning firms, honestly. So again, use that to your advantage. And again, it's not so much bragging. It's just putting information out there and recognizing other people. Again, the relationship building, the business development of recognizing others and not so much making it about yourself. All right, another way too on your company page is to really highlight your firm expertise. So here during this time period, again, this was height of quarantine. We posted this video that Heidi Gordon, obviously one of the firm's principals, or not a principal, but you're up there, Heidi. I don't have your exact title right here. But again, if you're sitting here in your own firm, maybe one of your principals was invited to, be interviewed. Maybe post a snippet of that interview like we did here with this video clip, and just let people know that, people highly value the people at your firm, right? That other organizations took the time to recognize you for a purpose, right? For a reason. And Heidi was there to represent the engineers. So that was a great one. And as you can see, there is 430 impressions, clicks. This one was more recent. This is actually at the start of Engineers Week. This was Sunday evening that I posted this, that ACEC had went ahead and got the State of Colorado proclamation from the governor for Engineers Week. Happy Engineers Week, by the way. And this was, again, one of our most popular posts, 555 impressions on a Sunday evening on February 21st. So you never, you always want to highlight what your firm does and what it does for its clients, and any way too that you are gaining some PR from your firm, for your firm, right? We partnered, obviously reached out to the governor, had him do this proclamation every year, but you have to make sure you tell people about it, right? Like, oh my gosh, right? They, took the time to get this designation, and it wasn't just tagging on to the National Engineers Week. No, we wanted to make sure that the governor's office recognizes engineers, put it out there, and officially proclaimed this is Engineers Week here in Colorado. All right. So moving on to, so you've talked about internal things, right? Showing your company expertise, showing that, you have smart people working at your firm that are being published or being highlighted in different places. You also want to make sure that you're putting on your cap of hiring for the next generation, right? Or hiring better people, right? You want the best people on your team, right? How do you do that? You want to show people who you are, right? Show them your firm culture, right? Again, when people are looking for jobs, it's not so much they're going after a job title or job description or even salary. Obviously, salary is important, but they want to work at a place where they fit in with the firm culture. And one way to do that without, again, having someone in this era, right, come into your office, see the big conference room, maybe, meet and greet with a couple other people. Guess what? Most people aren't even back in the office right now, right? So again, how are you using that? Get on your company page, LinkedIn, right? Show them that you guys are doing your, your Zoom happy hours, right? Even though, again, we're sick of them, but it shows that you're at least coming together and you're connecting as a company with your employees. Also too, employee recognition. I went back to the kind of the firm expertise, showing when your principals are being highlighted, but guess what? Your principals aren't the only people in your firm, okay? Your project engineers, your EITs, your marketing specialists, your business development team, they're all doing things that are noteworthy, right? Within the industry. They are all part of the firm. You guys have a collective unit, and you should highlight, different things about what your employees are doing. Did they get their PE? Congratulations, right? Maybe they earned a promotion, or they took their own team to Habitat for Humanity. They organized within their little pod or whatever their section is within the company. They took it upon themselves to start a group and go out and volunteer. That's great content to put on your company page. Again, it shows that your employees have initiative, that they care about people other than themselves, and that they're willing to do things together with other people within your own firm. All right, so firm culture. This was a fun one, right? Again, for ACEC, they hosted the holiday party at the beginning of December here. And the reason why I highlighted this post was for the CTR. So this is the calculated as clicks per impressions. Look how high that is. So only 165 people saw this, right, within their feed. But of those 165, 110 people actually clicked on to see more and to really find out what was going on in this post, right? You see these smiling faces, well, there's me, right, with my Santa hat, and Dana had a great costume. I have to highlight her, but it just looks fun, right? Like, hey, I want to be a part of that. And any way that you can capture that and put it on LinkedIn it's to your benefit, right? So again, I talked about the different analytics. These are the definitions. So impressions, views when the update is seen at least 50% on screen. So that's when you're going through your feed, clicks, actual people that have clicked on any to see more within the post, or they clicked on the link for more information. And then that's that CTR there. So again, have some fun with it, right? And people like seeing other people. It's engaging, and it really encourages people to be a part of it. All right, other things that you can post. Again, this is my constant daily question. Gosh, what am I going to post today, right? And I've got 12 of those accounts to think about and manage. Oh gosh, what am I going to post for this one, this one, this one? So let's focus you in on one, right? And there is a well of content out there that you could build and different tips. So when and how you should post, right? There's a 4-1-1 rule. So for every one self-serving tweet or post that you put out there, send out 4 more that are not about you, right? Going back to that trusted resource, sharing industry data, sharing industry articles, those types of things, so that you're not just saying, me, look how great my firm is. You're also sharing, right? So you want to have that balance. Then also too, the best times to post, right? There are different algorithms and strategies about how and when people post. I would say pre-COVID, it was probably more defined. But now, right, we're on these, you could see back from, what was that statistic? 4 hours. So half of our workday is spent on our mobile phones, right? So you can imagine how many more people are on here, and the best times to post is all over the place, right? Some people are working crazy schedules where they're only working at night because they're, being a teacher, right, for their kids for virtual learning during the day. So post late at night, right? You might see, those moms and dads scrolling through on your LinkedIn, looking for information. Also first thing in the morning, right? Maybe that's your only quiet time. It's 5 a.m., the sun hasn't even come up yet, and you're able to kind of scroll through and see and be updated on the latest industry news, and you only had to go to one place, LinkedIn. All right, so let's take a deeper dive into that. Okay, so this explains the graphic from the Sophisticated Marketer's Guide to LinkedIn, the 4-1-1 rule, right? So again, you want to, it explains that again, for every one self-serving tweet, you should tweet 1 relevant, and most importantly, share 4 pieces of relevant content written by others. Again, show that you are a resource. You know what's going on, you're sharing relevant information. And again, it's on brand for you, right? So if you are a civil engineering firm and you're posting stuff about MEP, it might be a little, disconcerting, that's not on brand for you, but maybe your civil engineering firm acquired an MEP firm and that's a new part of your business, then yes, I would shout that from the rooftops on your company page. So again, be intentional about what you're posting. And again, this kind of breaks it down as well for the 4-1-1 rule. 4 tweets. So one thing about yourself, one self-serving tweet, maybe a retweet, right? Maybe you share information, and then 4 posts that are actually informational and are not about you or not written by you. Okay, so this one gets into when should I post, right? Again, this is always the number one question. Oh, I want to make sure people are seeing it, So Social Media Today put out this study. It's by Blog to Social for the best times to post for your business, right? So this is LinkedIn. They actually broke it down. There's also Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter on there as well. But obviously, talking about LinkedIn today. And you can see the best times to post, right? So in the morning, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., people are just logging on, maybe checking emails. They're scrolling through LinkedIn, kind of want to get an idea of what's going on for the day. Then in the afternoon too, right? That 5 to 6 p.m., maybe you're finally shutting down or you're trying to transition, away from emails and maybe from some of your project deadlines and you're scrolling through LinkedIn, that's the best time to kind of grab people. Again, I will say post-COVID, these numbers are a little bit all over the place. Again, depending upon when, different people in your firm are working, their flexible hours. So I would play with it, right? And again, the best way to track this is through that company page analytics. Look at the analytics. You can see what your most popular post is, how many people actually clicked on it. We went through some of those numbers before. But again, this will help determine the best times for your company to post, right? Based on your clientele, the industry, and the people that you're trying to reach for your company page. Okay. Then getting into, this is what was kind of mentioned before about guidelines, right? Again, this is not a free for all. You don't want to have your employees going rogue. Honestly, again, they are representing your firm. They work for you. This is, again, want to make sure that their mannerisms and postings are appropriate and don't reflect badly on you as a company. Also, you want to make sure that they're not posting, everybody on the job site with alcohol and drinks in their hands, right? Or smoking or whatever that might be. No, don't do that. Again, I've written company guidelines specifically for social media with very specific do's and don'ts. I recommend that, there's tons of templates out there online too. I can send you a template or a sample that I have as well. Dana, you can make a note of that. I'll share that out. But again, just trying to decide what's appropriate, what's not, because you want to be able to hold people accountable. And also establish a social media contact. So whether that's someone within your firm or maybe an outside consultant, whatever that might be, at least have one person, I say one, maybe two, maybe as a backup. No, I guess two is better. So one is the admin, maybe designate a second admin if that person leaves or, God forbid, forgets the password or whatever that might be. But you want to have a gatekeeper for sure for the information that's being posted. You want to be able to see what's going out, approve it. Again, I mentioned earlier that OSHA fine, $30,000. I can't even imagine spending that kind of money for a photo that showed that they were in violation of OSHA. So please, please, please don't do that. All right, so here's some more don'ts, right? Again, I mentioned the OSHA laws. Foul language, right? My goodness. Again, these are basics to me, but I've seen all types of posts from various companies, top level of Forbes 500 firms where I'm like, really? You let that go out on your company page? So please be tactful. Again, don't post anything related to drugs or alcohol. Don't be too wordy. Like that's a big one. Again, as a writer, I wish, I could write prolific posts, right? That just went on and on and on. But guess what? No one reads like that, right? They want short, sweet, to the point. Put your headline in there, put the link where they can learn more and digest the information at their own pace. And then two, I mentioned this before, do not post anything that would reveal company trade secrets, right? Maybe you don't make that announcement that you just won a project because maybe you're still, going through contract negotiations or there was, a hang up or maybe the project's on hold now. So be careful, right? I mean, I think too, obviously groundbreakings are good ones, right? Because, you've got the project, you're clearly on it. It kind of shows a milestone within the project. But yeah, don't give away the secret sauce, right? You want people, you're a professional service firm. You want people to pay you for your professional knowledge, your professional expertise, and for that quality of service. So don't give that away on social media. Okay, social media implementation, right? So now you've got your own personal profile together. You are a company page expert. You've got a whole strategy lined up. What do you do then now? You got to start posting, right? You have to start engaging. You cannot just be a stagnant page or a stagnant profile on LinkedIn. First of all, you will go down and talk about SEO, right? So if you keep seeing the same person in your feed, it's probably for a reason. A, because they're posting a lot, or B, because there's some engagement there, right? LinkedIn is tracking that of how many people are actually clicking on your posts and different things. So they're more likely to put you again at that top of the fold as people are scrolling through their feed. Let's see, post yourself. Obviously, again, designate an in-house contact. I mentioned that as part of your guidelines. have two, right? Have a backup. Maybe that's, one of your administrative assistants who also has access, or a principal, definitely somebody in marketing or business development, or even just the owner, right? Making sure that they have access and can go in and edit things, change them. Gosh, I edit things all the time, but you just want to make sure you've got at least one or two people as your point of contact. You can also hire a consultant, right? Someone who specializes in social media. Maybe that's just not your purview. You don't like it. You don't want to mess up or whatever. Hire out, right? That's the best part of our world, is that you can always hire a consultant. All right, implementation. So again, you're posting, you're putting stuff out there, right? And now you have to engage with people, right? You've put all this stuff out there, say thank you, right? This was for a conference I did for CCA. I posted I was gonna be there, I had some likes, and Joe Taylor said, hey, looking forward to it, Julie. Thank you, me too. Very simple, right? It's again, those simple communication responses. You acknowledged someone that went out of their way to, put a comment on your post. You're thanking them, you're acknowledging them, engaging with them, right? And I think that that's part of any good business development strategy, is that when you send an email out, you expect a response. Maybe not right away. I know I'm terrible at that. But again, acknowledging that someone has reached out to you, has offered to help you, or saying they are looking forward to seeing you, just those little things that can be done in a professional manner on LinkedIn, on your company page. Also, I talked a lot about analytics. I think I showed it in, again, those several examples of the post of how many people are seeing it. That will help determine your overall strategy, right? What's technically, I guess in a broad sense, videos are the best content, right? To share out. It's the most engaging. You'll usually see an uptick in number of impressions and engagement. So again, base your strategy on the analytics for your firm. And then also to just post more often. For ACEC, I know we're posting at least once a day, sometimes 2-3 times a day, based on, obviously we got a lot going on for Engineers Week. I'm sure you've seen a series of videos that we did with the members, also different posts and notifications about different events and things that are coming up, but also too, tracking those events, right? So maybe your firm hosted a developer panel, right? You want to make sure you're taking pictures of that panel. You are maybe doing some video snippets that you can post online, or even just a thank you to the speakers, right? Or thank you to the people who took the time to speak with your employees, right? Those are all things I would like to say, if it didn't happen on social media, did it really happen, right? So make sure you're documenting things, but then also to documenting them appropriately, making sure, again, if your company guidelines say no alcohol, make sure no one has a drink in their hand, even though it's happy hour. Okay, be intentional. Be that kind of that stop gate, that front door of how you want to be displayed and portrayed online. All right, and then again, by the numbers don't lie. So this was just a snippet of the analytics for ACEC Colorado. This is what we've done in their, so ACEC Colorado, their fiscal year starts July 1. So we did a kind of half year look back of what happened in 2020, right? So despite everything, despite COVID, despite the pandemic, we still saw some great impressions and an increase in numbers, right? I mean, you'll see these are smaller increases, 2%, 8%, 14%. I will tell you that when I first started with ACEC back in 2017, managing their social media, these followers and numbers, impressions were much, much lower. So it's incremental, right? It takes time, takes a lot of content and engagement. And that's why too, you should have someone managing it, right? Someone being that point of that stopgate that's looking at these things. Hey, are we actually gaining followers? Again, I wouldn't hang your hat on the number of followers you have. But it certainly helps, right? Like, that's just more people that are following you, that are requesting to see the information, see what your company's doing. So that always has to feel good. But I would focus more, again, if you're looking at numbers, on these impressions, right? 2,900 averaging LinkedIn impressions from July to November. That's huge, right? I mean, you saw some of those numbers that were maybe a post only at 100, right? But there's varying numbers. And when you look at that monthly of all the posts that you're doing, you can, definitely bounce up those impression numbers and making sure that you're reaching more people. All right. We have another break for questions. Please do. It's 9:35. I know, again, threw a lot out at you, but please feel free. You want to open up the floor for opening to answer questions about company pages or personal, maybe something that you picked up on, but feel free.
We have had a couple through the chat, Julie.
All right, perfect.
Is there a better day of the week or time of day to post where the impressions and click-through rates are higher?
Sure. So I'm going to go back to, let's see if I can get back on the presentation here. This kind of base guideline here, right? So typically, again, this follows if your company is also doing PR in terms of sending out news releases, this is almost follows that same frequency of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are the best times to hit people up, right? And to see those impression numbers go up and that engagement. Think about people's habits, right? Mondays, everyone knows we're in meetings on Zoom, in Zoom jail, even all day, right? And we're not checking social media. Maybe we're catching up on emails on Fridays, maybe you stop work at noon on Fridays, right? And so maybe that's not a good time to catch people or reach them. So I would, for safe bet, if you're just starting out, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, kind of in either the early morning or afternoon hours. I would even add 2 lunch breaks on there. Again, you want to catch people when they're not on a deadline, completely focused, that maybe they're just, cruising around, and you'll see those numbers go up.
Hey, thanks. I know a person who seemed to post every 3 hours. I asked him how he got any work done, and he said he has a service post for him. What do you think about that?
So to me, that service is almost, again, it's like that concept of hiring an outside consultant, right? I would just say that if they're posting every 3 hours, you're right. That is a lot of content, but maybe that person is trying to, boost their number of followers or people that they are connected to. So that's one strategy. Some people might be turned off by that, by the way. You posting every 3 hours and you keep coming up on their feed, that might cause some people to unfollow you just because it's almost like you're spamming them. But again, when you hire an outside service or a consultant to manage either your own personal social media or your company's social media, there's got to be a lot of trust there, right? You don't want to post something that may be off brand for that person, or that might be completely, inappropriate. So I would really encourage you to take the time to kind of get to know that person, obviously, right? And to inform them about what you're about, right? What is your firm culture, right? What are some laws like OSHA that you must follow in every single one of your posts? Different things, kind of get a flavor for what they're sharing. I have some clients that tell me exactly what to post and literally write it out with the link, with the image, and it's a copy and paste. Other clients I work with, obviously ACEC, I have a chance to be more strategic and make recommendations, right? Because I live and breathe in this world. So again, I would be selective about choosing an outside service and making sure they're on brand and that you can trust them.
Thanks, Julie.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any suggestions on how to get more views on your company's LinkedIn posts? Should we have our engineers reshare what the company posts to reach a broader audience?
Yes, and yes. Again, so the way that LinkedIn is set up, right? You first have to have a personal profile to share anything or to even manage a company page. So that's step one, making sure all your engineers are on LinkedIn, they have their current company, and making sure, honestly, too, that they're following your company page. I can't tell you how many companies have hired me for their LinkedIn strategy, and I noticed that most of their leadership team and half their engineers aren't even following the company page, right? So make sure you do that, right? I've seen people do it as part of their onboarding process. Honestly, when you bring on a new employee, you want to make sure that you've looked at their LinkedIn profile, it's appropriate, you reviewed it with them, it has the right title. I know some people give themselves promotions on LinkedIn. Be careful about that. You are not a manager, right? Like, know the levels. But again, making sure that, you're monitoring that and that they're following the company page. So then getting back to your point, yes. So the way that you can increase those number of impressions and increase the rate of engagement is for your engineers to take whatever you post on your company page and share that out with their network, right? Because hopefully they have a pretty good number of connections or followers, and it's just kind of spreading the message outward. I think I like to describe it as like dropping a pebble in a pond, right? You want to have that ripple effect so that you post on your company page, that's the pebble going in, and then the ripple effect to increase that number of impressions and engagements is actually your employees, your engineers taking that one post and then sharing it out over their individual and their personal networks. So again, that's a great strategy. And it's a safe route, right? Like if you don't want your engineers going rogue and, maybe posting something about a project that, might be canceled or was put on hold and they don't want other people to know about it. Just share what's on the company page. So there you go.
Good advice. Thanks, Julie.
Yes. Uh-huh.
I think that's the last of the questions we've gotten in the chat for now.
Okay, perfect. 9:41. I did have a question actually for the group. After listening to all this, I'd love to kind of hear from you guys. What's the one thing that you will do differently on LinkedIn now? One thing or one takeaway. Anybody want to share? Share in the chat or unmute yourself.
Hi, Julie. First of all, thank you so much. This has been so informative.
Great.
And I did not know the 1 to 4 rule. That's an awesome little tidbit. And I think it really will help drive our engagement beyond just liking other firms and community groups on LinkedIn's content, but to actually feel, empowered and enabled to start sharing their stuff. It sounds like it's, 1, a huge benefit to them, and 2, a really good way to show that we're a part of a community and not just posting about job hiring.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And awards that we win. So I think that's an awesome suggestion. Thanks for sharing that.
Great, thanks, Anna. You're so welcome. Anybody else want to share one thing that you're going to do differently?
I know I will go on and reshare or share our company posts. I mean, that's so easy. It's just a click of the button. There's no reason why I cannot do that.
Very true, right? And again, it too, it shows that you actually work for that company, right? Or that you care that about what your own firm's doing. So yeah, that's a great point, Dana. Anyone else? One thing. No? All right. Any other questions or last minute burning things that must know about LinkedIn? I know we kind of wrapped up a little bit early. Want to be cognizant of your time. Some of you guys might have 10 a.m. Zooms, right? Again, that Zoom jail. We are kind of just all over the place. But again, wanted to thank all of you. Again, I hope that you found at least one tidbit, tip, trick, best practice to kind of help elevate your business development strategy, and know that you can do business development online. It is possible. I don't think COVID is going away. So we all need to be able to connect digitally, and then also to be able to connect with people outside of Colorado, right? I mean, so many project teams are forming from people from Texas, California, all over. And one way to kind of share that is to start your own leads group on LinkedIn and be able to share that information and keep everybody up to date. So
thank you, Julie. That was an excellent presentation. Just to wrap up,